Lakota way, whenever you have a meeting, we always have a prayer. So we're gonna sing. In the Lakota way, it's more powerful to sing your prayers than it is to say your prayers. So we're gonna sing a song for you, a prayer song. Oya te oase, omini chia, uopila tanka tokasha, onaha ikchewi chasha wa o tokashla, wowagalaka, omakia, omitakiase. This is a near-death experience. 10 months ago, I had knee surgery, and while I was on the operating table, while they were sawing on my bones, my heart stopped. And they got it going again, but right after that, then I got a blood clot. And they said, well, normally you'd only be here 3 days. But I was there for 3 weeks. The trauma of all of this then my trachea collapsed, and I couldn't get enough oxygen. So I'm on 5 different kind of heart pills now. I was using a walker. I kept getting dizzy, lack of oxygen, falling over, and then I couldn't get oxygen in my blood, so I couldn't digest my food. So I'm always constipated. Lack of oxygen causes memory loss. I can't remember everything. So I came home, and after all that, and I told my wife, I said, "Hon, guess what? I can't remember everything." I said, "Who are you?" And she got mad. She said, "You better not forget me. I'm the one took care of you, take care of you for 37 years. Oh. So I remembered her. But I had all these problems, and they wouldn't let me out of the hospital. Took 3 weeks of dealing. Now, I'm a dealer. I'm used to dealing. But they wouldn't let me out. Finally, they said, if you get a doctor's, I don't know what they call it, but a doctor has to look at you every day. And if we get a doctor's statement, we'll let you go home. So, got that, and I went home. And I kept falling over. I had a walker, but I kept getting dizzy, falling over. I fell on the bed once, and second time I fell on a table. So I said, I better do something, because one of these times I'm going to fall down the stairs. So I got on the phone, I called home, and back in Roseman, South Dakota, got a medicine man. He came in. We had a ceremony. 3 days later, I was able to get rid of that walker. And then I couldn't control my bladder. I had a bag of pee hanging off my leg here, and then my leg was swollen. Both of my legs were swollen, and I was still having a hard time. It took 3 months to recover. Well, anyway, I got on the phone, called the medicine man again. He came back 2 weeks later. We had a ceremony. 3 days later, I was able to get rid of that pee bag, and the swelling went down in my legs. Then I was out of work, like I said, and so we waited. It was about 4 months, and then we called a medicine man to come back in to help me get on my feet and start working again, because I was out of work for 5 months. Couldn't pay my bills, couldn't pay the credit cards, so I filed in bankruptcy. Now we're going into foreclosure on the house. It's terrible times that everybody's living in. I'm not the only one. But it ended away when the spirits give you something, you can't charge for it. You have to share it with the people. That's why we have a free lecture here tonight. And if you want to donate, if you donate $10 or more, we'll get you a free book. While I was out, while my heart stopped, I had an NDE, near-death experience. I come to the end of this world. At the end of the world, there was a small stream there. I could have just stepped across and been in the spirit world. It was really nice over there. It was just a wonderful feeling coming from over there. But I didn't want to go, yet I didn't want to stay here. I hated it on this side. It was the most ugly feeling I had. And so I prayed to Tokashila Wakataka about what to do. And Tokashila Wakataka came to me in a cultural vision. It came in our way, the Sundance. The tree at the center of the Sundance is God. That's God. So he came to me as a Sundance tree. And you can put your arms around a normal Sundance tree, but this tree in my vision was as big as a redwood. And when God came to it, it was just totally silence, absolute respect. I didn't say anything, God didn't say anything. But it was a knowing that was coming to me. You know, when I was younger, I used to go on vision quests. spirits come to me and they talk to me in mental telepathy. It was kind of that way, but it was more of a knowing came to me, and they said, no, it's not your time to go. You got to stay. There's some more things you got to do. You have to stay. You're the only one that can do them. So here I am. You got to put up with me a little bit longer. Number one was at the end of the summer, last summer, there was a young boy came to our Sundance and he was trying to take over the Sundance. I don't know if he heard that I was sick and he was trying to bump me out. I don't know what his reasoning was, but he was trying to take over the Sundance, and he split our family. Now, in my book, Midaki, I'll see the new chapter in the back of the book, I talk about what happened there, and I was able to save the Sundance for the people. And then this past Christmas, my cousin's sister fell. She was shopping at the mall, and she fell and hit her face on the sidewalk outside, and here she got a concussion, and then it started bleeding and went to her brain, and then they rushed her to the hospital. They had to operate, and it was too late, and she went into a coma. So she was in a coma for 7 days, and we'd go over every day, and the family was devastated. And I knew it. Ever since I've come back, I'm starting to know things now. Things just come to me. So I knew she was going to die. And I had to prepare the family. One of the reasons I know, because her dad, my uncle, my dad's brother, died in a coma. And she had a daughter that went in diabetic coma, and she died. Now she's in a coma, my cousin's sister in our way. They're our sisters also. We don't have cousins. When the mothers are sisters, you don't have cousins. Your brother and sister also. So I knew she was going to die, so I had to prepare the family. And then every night, the hospital, they'd run us out at 6:30 because they want to come in and do whatever they're going to do. Then we'd come back next morning. So at 6:30 every evening, I'd say a prayer, sing a song. And this one day, we had not even put up a Christmas tree, my wife and I, and we hadn't even gone shopping, and we were at the hospital the whole time. And it was just 2 days before Christmas. And Dorothy says, you think we should go to the hospital today? I said, no, I don't feel like going. I said, I'd like to put up a Christmas tree. And no sooner I said that, I knew we had to go. So we went, and at 6:30, the husband, he was devastated. He was crying. Every 15 minutes he was crying. He was praying for a miracle. And the daughters, everybody's praying for a miracle for her to live. But I knew she was going. So at 6:30, when we were getting ready to leave, Dorothy says, are you going to pray? And I said, no, I don't think I'll pray today. And no sooner I said that, I knew I had to. So I got up, sang a song, and then I told a story about Dawson No Horse. Dawson No Horse is a medicine man that I had learned from. And he had healed me in a ceremony almost 40 years ago. And when he was dying, he was in a coma out here at Fitzsimmons. And he was in 2 weeks in a coma, and he was dying. And one night he woke up and he talked to his wife for about 5 minutes. And he went back in the coma, and he told his wife that, you know, they're calling me from the other side. time for me to go. But the people, see, people from what he had healed hundreds of people, they had all come and they're praying for him to live. And he said, you know, the people praying for me, they're keeping me here. But I have to go, I have to go. He said, ask them if they could change their prayer. So she came out and she told us, she said, you know, they're calling him from the other side, it's time for him to go. And we'd like for you to pray for what he wants, not what you want, what he wants. So they did. And the next morning, he passed on. So I told that story to my family, and they're at the hospital. And then I said a short prayer, and then Dorothy and I left. We didn't even get home. 15 minutes later, my cell phone rang, and one of the boys called and said, her mom just died. And he said, you know, she heard your prayer, heard what you said, and the family's really grateful for what you told us. And I really had said that for them. And I was the only one that could have said it. So that's another reason I came back. And like tonight, this lecture, it's things that have happened to me over the last 50 years. And I'd like to share that, some of those things with you. When I was 17 years old, in the Badlands of South Dakota, I was not on a vision quest. I just had gone to a rodeo in the interior of South Dakota. And in those days, there was no electric lights. And when the sun went down, the rodeo was over. So the sun went down, and we were driving home. It was dark. We were going through the Badlands. There was no pavement in those days. The roads were just little gravel roads, up and down and around. And we were coming back home, and we come around a corner. Here there was a telephone post laying in front of the road, laying across the road in front of us. I hit the brakes. Too late, we bumped over this telephone post. No sooner than I hit it, that I realized it was not a telephone post. It was a giant snake. It was that big around, and wide as the road. Well, the hair on my neck just, well, in those days, we didn't have long hair. We went to boarding school, and boarding school made us cut our hair off. So we had short hair. Well, the hair on my neck stood up. And I had my brother, 2 cousins were with me. And so we hollered, and I said, did you see that? They said, what? I said, that snake. And they didn't answer me. They said, stop, we'll look for it. What? I'm not getting out. You get out. No, you get out. Nobody wanted to get out. So we drove around in the Badlands with the headlights, didn't see nothing. We got back home. We started telling people what we seen. Nobody believed us. Nobody believed us. Okay, that's fine. We'll just forget it. So we did. We forgot it. And 20 years later, almost same month, I went on my first official vision quest with a medicine man, Dawson Nohorse. I went on a vision quest, and on the third night, three spirits came to me, and they came flying in. They flew around, and they stood right in front of me, one in front and two on the shoulders. Oh, I was supposed to show this to you. I forgot that. This is the serpent vision that I had. These were the three spirits that came to me. Had no faces, no hands, no feet, and this is how they stood. Now the one in the center, he spoke to me mental telepathy. He said, we come here to help you put together all the information we gave you. What information? And I realized later, well, I'll get to that. He said, now I'm going to help you write a book. I said, write a book? I ain't going to write no book. Indians don't write books. They just tell stories. Oh. This guy, the second one, said, I am the spirit of Tonkashala Wakantaka God, and I'm always with you. Wherever you go, I'm there. Now, a lot of people come up to me and they say, oh, I met you before. And I said, no, I never met you. I don't tell them that. What? I said, no, I can't be. What it is this aura of God that's welcoming them, acknowledging them. And so they think they know me, but they don't know me. And I don't know them. But that's beside the point. So he's always with me. The third one is the spirit of the eagle and the serpent. Now the serpent is the spirit of the underworld. Anytime you have a question, you pray, the serpent will go in the underworld, get the information, bring it back to you. And so that's how I was able to become a dream interpreter. I've been a dream interpreter for over 30 years. The second one is the eagle. The eagle has to do with spirituality. And I got involved in a Lakota religion, Lakota spirituality, and I'm now the chief of the Black Hills Sundance. So all of these spirits are here helping me. The spirit of the serpent, I found out later that Fursa, the giant one, that was the spirit that in I think it's in metaphysics, they call it Kundalini.
Kundalini.
Yeah, Kundalini. They had opened my chakra system, what we call flowering tree in the Lakota. Had opened my chakra system, and I was able to receive information. So I received a lot of information over 20 years. And that's when these guys came and said, okay, let's write it down. And a year later, there was a book. How in the world? So now we got a book. I went to a publisher, and the publisher says, okay, well, we'll publish your book, but you only get that 6%. I said, 6%? What does that mean? Well, I told him, well, let's sell a book for $10. How much do I get? He said, well, you get 20 cents. I said, well, wait a minute. You sell 5 books, I get $1, and you get the rest? Yeah. I said, well, why is it? Why is it that way? Well, first of all, who are you? Nobody knows you. Oh, you mean I have to shoot somebody, stab somebody, or become famous. That's number one. Number two is, how many books have you written before? I said, none. Well, you're unknown. Nobody knows you. And the rest is we have to print the book. We have to publish it, print it. We have to advertise. We got a sales. We got all these costs. That's why you only get 20 cents a book. Oh. So I said, well, I don't think I want to do that. This information is too valuable. And I know you guys are going to do a good job anyway, because I had sent the book to the manuscript to a number of publishers, and they say, well, we don't know what category to list it under. It doesn't really come under spirituality, Lakota spirituality. It doesn't really come under history. It doesn't come under autobiography. It doesn't come under metaphysics, psychology, parapsychology. It doesn't come under any one of these categories. So they refused. So I had 4 companies that said they would do it. But in the end, I said no. So my wife and I started a nonprofit organization, and we self-published the books. I took my retirement. I had worked for the government for 20 years. I took that, put it into the book business. So I have no retirement. My retirement is selling books. So my life is now tied into these books. One of the first things when I started right after that, in 1957, when I had that vision of the giant snake, it was right after then that I had joined the service and gone to Europe. And I started looking for my identity, my roots. And one of the first things that I came across is the fact that the white buffalo, the sacred white buffalo, is a constellation of stars. And the sacred white buffalo, she's the lady that brought us the pipe to use in our ceremonies. The head of this buffalo are 7 stars, 7 sisters. And we have oral history that says that's where we came from in the beginning. And that's why we have 7 tribes in our nation. And so each one of the legs represents an age that mankind has come through since the beginning when we first got here. In the first age, man developed a high level of technology, much like it is today. The first age was ruled by the black man. And in the first age, mankind, those that were in charge, misused their powers. And they created a disaster that destroyed the world. That first world was destroyed by fire. Some people think it was atomic energy, but we don't know. The oral history just says it's destroyed by fire. Those that went underground to survive, not everybody survived. Most of the people died. Those that went underground survived, and then after the Holocaust they came out to start the second age. In the second age, once again, mankind had developed a high level of technology. Those in charge. The second world was controlled by the yellow man. And once again, mankind, he misused his powers. And he destroyed that age, and he did it with ice. Ice destroyed the second world. Those that went underground to survive. Now when we say going underground, we're not talking physically. We're talking spiritually. going down into the lower level of your unconscious, going down and make contact with your spirituality. Then you're guided to safe havens, and then you come out again to start the next stage. The third age was controlled by the red man. The Indians ruled the third age. And we had flying machines, we had electricity, we had lasers, everything like what they have here today. But those in charge misused their powers and destroyed the third age with the water, the flood. Destroyed the third age. Those that listened and went underground to survive came out and started the next stage. The age that we're in now, the fourth age. Now in this age, the white man runs the world. And the white man has the ability to destroy everything, just like the red man did, and the yellow man, the black man. Now the white man has the power. And they say that when that happens, it will be, everything will be destroyed to all three of the previous: fire, ice, and water. All three will be used to destroy this age. Those that listen will go underground. They'll come out to start the fifth age. So there is a future. Amen. The fifth age will be governed, ruled by the brown man. The Hispanics, they're going to run the next stage. We were told these stories, we were told to keep these stories so that we could share with the people of the world, so that they could use their intellect to decide what to do for mankind. Now, for the Lakota, we say we came from 7 stars. I lived down on the Hopi Reservation for 8 years, and I have 4 children down there. One of my boys is now a Hopi priest. They're all almost 50 years old now, so you know how old I am. Anyway, they have, in the Hopi tradition, they have 2-horned priests. And these 2-horned priests are the ones that are connected with Pleiades, the 7 stars. Now when the 7 stars are directly overhead at midnight, then they have a certain, in the Kiva, they have a certain set of creation songs. That's where mankind comes from. Now, as I was looking, research, I found that the Mayan Indians, in their calendar at the bottom, they have creator twins, which has the 7 stars of Pleiades above their helmet. And they too believe they come from the 7 stars. Now, according to this Mayan calendar, the end of the age is upon us. December 21st, midnight. I don't know how they got midnight out of it. December 21st, midnight, 2012 is when the new cycle will start. So that got me interested in doing research on Pleiades. Then I came across a book called UFO Contact with Pleiades. And I got the book from a New Age bookstore. I got the book, I started reading it. And here, I found many, many similarities. I started getting excited because that's where we say we came from. Here's the Milky Way galaxy. We're down here. Pleiades is up here. is 500 light years between the two. Now the Pleiadians that come here say it only takes 7 hours to get here. 7 hours. You know, if they were flying the speed of light, they'd be here. They'd be 500 years old when they got here, but they're not. So I said, "Well, what the world?" And they said they come as spirits. They're able to. Their craft is run by an organic computer. That means it's alive. Their organic computer is in tune to the pilot, and so he operates it on mental telepathy. The alloy the craft is made from is unknown here on Earth. They reach a point where they're able to dissolve everything to become spirit. And then they reassemble on the other side. Now, the best way to explain that is, let's take an ice cube. Ice cube is a solid, three-dimensional solid. We heat it up, it becomes liquid. We heat it up, it becomes vapor. Where'd it go? That vapor, that spirit, then they travel in thought projection. They're able to do that. Well, we can't do that here. Medicine Man could. Medicine Man could. But most of us can't because we're too busy reading books, watching TV, and eating TV dinners, and we're too busy doing other things. So now we have an oral history that says when in the beginning, when a baby is born, the spirit comes into that baby. See if I can remember. I want to tell it right. They keep that baby inside for 20 days. That's a length of 1 month on the Mayan calendar, incidentally. And then they bring the baby out to greet Father Sun. When they bring the baby out to Father Sun, they wash the body in ashes. Why? To get rid of the hair from the body. Indians don't have hair on the body. You want to see? We don't have hair on the body. Now, 2 years ago, they did a DNA on orangutan, and they found that it was 1 point away from being a human being. So it was a creature like that, a creature similar to that we entered into 6 million years ago. And then over 3 generations, those spirits molded that body, crafted it, and built it using the endocrine system of the body. They changed that hairy, whatever it was, into what you see here today. The spirit did it. Those spirits from the Pleiades. So we've been here 6 million years. That's a long time. But you have to stop and realize that in outer space, there is no time. They don't care. There's no time. We're the only ones that got time. And cell phones. The 7 stars. These are Greek names. But the star that they say that we come from is right here, Tegeta. There's a planet that goes around that sun. That's where we came from. 10 million years ago, we came from there to here. We flew around this planet for 4 million years before we decided to enter the Earth's plane. Now, why would people that have no sense of time, don't care about time, why did they attach time to it? So we could understand. We have, we need to have time attached to everything. We're so linear. We're so left-brained. We're so book people. We don't use our intuition, our instinct, our artistic abilities like we should. We're out of balance. We're walking around. People don't realize. Look at the mirror. Your left side is hanging down like this. This is where we came from 10 million years ago. Now, the Pleiadians that came here, there was a group that came here about 20 years ago. They landed in, they landed several places. And they've made contact with now 17,000 people here on the planet. But this is the story they told. That they came from here to Earth. But they also came to Mars, Malona, and Hesperus. Now, there was a war between Mars and Malona. Malona blew up. Mars, how did that go now? Hesperus blew up Mars, which blew up Malona, and this is now the asteroid belt around. This is all little pieces. Mars, if you go up there to Mars, well, they said craft up, didn't see it's really scarred. The Mars surface is all scarred like this desert, great desert. It's because there was a war, destroyed it. Now this planet was destroyed, and all we have left is us. And we're about ready to destroy everything. But the Pleiadians said, we're not the only ones. They said, they came from Lyra. Man, this is going to be too much for me. They came from Lyra, and that the people of Lyra came to Earth 20 million years ago. That's 10 million years before the Pleiadians came here. So they seeded this planet, and they seeded that, but they said the Lyrans came here 20 million years ago, and they were giant people, 10, 12 foot tall. And, but they died out too. They weren't really clear on why they died out, but they died out, that race, the tall race. And they gave some examples, in the Bible they talk about David and Goliath. He's a giant, and they found giants, remnants of giants in other cultures. In our culture, among the Hopi in the Southwest, the Zuni, they have a giant kachina. A kachina. The word kachina interpreted into English means respect for the spirit. So they have these spirits that come. They're giants. They're 10 foot, 12 foot tall. And the Zuni kachinas, Shalako they call them, they come right before Christmas. And they've come in to bless the new homes. And so they don't put a floor in the new home because the giant kachina won't be able to get around in there. So they leave the floor out, so that leaves it like 4 foot lower. So the kachina can come in, and they do their ceremony, dance, and they bless. So we have giants in our culture. when I had first gone to Dawson No Horse, I had my ankles swollen up and I couldn't walk. Now this is 40 years ago, and we went to a doctor, and the doctor said, well, he checked my heart, he checked my brain, he checked my blood, he checked everything. He said, I can't find anything wrong with you. He said, yeah, I know, your ankle's swollen up, you can't walk. He said, Chuck, he said, we call that a syndrome. You have a syndrome. Oh. Well, he said, I can't do nothing. So I told him, I said, well, if you can't do nothing, I'm going to go home and see the medicine man. So I went home and I seen Dawson No Horse. Had a ceremony. And as a result, I was able to walk again. The swelling had all gone down. But while I was in that ceremony, and I was sitting like this on a chair, a spirit came in and he put his hands on my head. Oh, they asked me to stand up. So I stood up and the spirit came and put his hands on my head. And he prayed. Inside of my head there was a ring of light that flashed 4 times. And I was thinking, damn, that's a big spirit. I'm standing up and he's holding his hands on my head. He must be 10, 12 foot tall. So we have the giants too in our culture, but they're in spirit form. Now, in southern Utah, a man he's an archaeologist, he was out digging and he found a giant skeleton, a human skeleton, 10 foot tall, estimate. They measured the femur from the hip to the knee, and that gave them an idea that this man they found was 10 foot tall. Now there's another man. I got his video, his VHS back there. He's an archaeologist out of Mesa, Arizona. He's found 2 skeletons, giant skeletons, 10, 12 foot tall. One has red hair. And then the Pleiadians said that the people from Lyra, the tall, tall people that came here 20 million years ago, were light-skinned and had yellow hair and red hair. But they died out. They had mated with the Earthlings, and I imagine that's why the size went down. Because these first ones from Lyra, they said were like 18 foot tall. Man. Anyway, this guy they found in southern Utah, he's only estimate 10 foot tall. Now in the Lakota way, we say that when you die, your spirit goes up to Milky Way and goes south, where you came from. We have a song that we sing that goes with this story. We came from the center of the universe, we call it, and we come here, we're born into a body, and we're only here short time, a blink of an eye. 100 years is a blink of an eye. We're only here for, some people are only here 40 years, 6 years. It's really nothing. We come here, we learn what we're supposed to learn, and we go on. We go up, we call it Chankuwakan, the spirit road. It's the Milky Way. You follow the Milky Way and you go south. Now, what's at the south end of the Milky Way? The center of the universe. It's called Sagittarius A because they got radio waves coming from there. So they named it Sagittarius A. Recently, within the past year, they discovered that this is also the center of our galaxy. So now they say that black holes are the center of the galaxies. So this is a black hole. So they renamed it. Well, I didn't want to call it black hole. That don't sound good at all. Well, anyway, when you got on the Milky Way, you go south. Along that, right here is Lyra. Do we go back to where we came from? Here or here? I don't know. I almost went there. I almost went there. Now the people of Lyra, like I mentioned earlier, are fair. And the last count, the Pleiadians say that there's 343 civilizations like theirs, where the people are humanoid in characteristic, like this one. I don't know where these guys come from, don't ask me. But they are humanoid in characteristic. The ones from Pleiades are, you know, if you put a little makeup on them, they could come right in this room and sit down and you won't even know. I think there's some space people in here. So I wanted to do a comparison, since we say we came from there and all the evidence points to that. So I just had to do a little comparison, Lakota and the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians are matrilineal. The women are the boss. The women are head of the clans. Lakota way, originally the women were head of the clans. All the children follow the woman's line. Long ago, when you got married, you never took the man's name. That's European. We never did that. And all of our heroes are female. For the Lakota, Teton Sioux, White Buffalo Calf woman, she's our hero, a woman. For the Hopi, it's Earth Mother. Navajo, Changing Woman. Cherokee, Corn Mother. Every tribe had a woman as their hero. But then, what happened? 500 years ago, pilgrims came over here and said, okay, you Indians, don't believe that anymore. They put us on reservations, and they said, don't believe those old ways anymore. So, many of our tribal people, I'd say 50% of the Native Americans have lost the old ways. They're now assimilated, Christian, book people. They don't have their ceremonies, their language anymore.
Is there an underground?
Underground, what do you mean?
Meaning, are people of the Native Americans secretly keeping the traditions instead
They're doing
of
it openly.
you know?
Not anymore. About 30 years ago, as the Renaissance
Right.
started, and they're opening up sharing. The time to share is now, because if we don't share with the white man, this time it could destroy everything.
Right.
Okay, now we have respect for nature and shared resources. That's what they have also on Pleiades. For us, we say the sun is our father, earth is our mother. At the sun dance, you raise your hands to the sun and you give thanks to the sun, Father, Son, for everything that He given us here on earth. You drop your hands to Mother Earth and back up to yourself, so you have a cycle of good energy at the sun dance. Send good energy to the sun. Now, I was reading this man, Edgar Casey. I got a book from the New Book Age, New Age. And he said Edgar Casey said that these solar flares and sunspots are caused by negative brain waves from the human being. How many human beings are sending out good thoughts to the sun? 2, 2, 3. Sundance. We're gonna have more people giving thanks. Did you see in the news tonight? Giant solar flares on the sun, causing all this destruction. And they said that Edgar Casey said that these solar flares, when this negative energy radiates to the sun can't deal with it, can't digest it, so it rebukes it, it belches it out in the form of a sunspot. And so the sunspot comes back to Earth, and it causes frequencies, disturbances in radio waves, unknown diseases to appear, volcanoes erupting. All of those things are caused by the human brain. To blame the sun, the human brain. How many civil wars are going on the planet right now?
Oh my God.
Continuous. Many.
Negative. The Pleiadians that are coming here from the 7 stars say it's very difficult for them to come here because planet Earth has aura stench. But yet,
I believe it.
their hands are tied in helping us and telling us what to do. When we were created, we were given free will. That's one thing we have that other creatures don't have. Free will. We can do what we want, say what we want, go where we want. So their hands are tied in helping us. We have to do it ourselves. We have to learn ourselves.